We are very much a family here at NBC4, and more than one of us is on the Alzheimer's journey. You likely know meteorologist Ben Gelber loves to talk weather and science. But on the home front, Ben spends much of his time managing the care of his 98-year-old father who is living with Alzheimer's. And for quite some time, Ben tried to do that long distance. If you watch NBC4, you've likely seen Ben Gelber's snow-covered pictures of his hometown in Pennsylvania's Pocono Mountains. And you know he loves the snow, even when it means treacherous driving. You might not know he was making those 8-hour drives through ice and snow to manage the care of his ailing parents. And after the death of his mother, trying to care long distance for his father, who has Alzheimer's.
Long-distance care is next to impossible.
It's the reason Ben made the decision to move his father to an Alzheimer's care unit just 10 minutes from his home in Hilliard. Ben is also overseeing the care of an uncle who's in a nursing home in the Bronx.
You're never sure exactly, what information you're getting. Is your parent or loved one receiving adequate care for his or her needs? And that can only be addressed locally, and that's why I'm also bringing his brother, who's 94, here from
But it's a financial burden for families, isn't it?
It's a huge financial burden.
But Ben is also finding joy in spending time with his father, mining his memories.
Professorial look.
Let me see your professor. Oh my, you definitely had a professorial look. Professor Gelber.
My dad was frequently voted the most popular teacher on campus at East Stroudsburg University.
I fell in love with the English language and English literature.
A professor of English composition, he can still quote Shakespeare, but could not remember meeting me 5 minutes earlier.
Didn't you tell me that she is related to your work?
Yes, we do the news together and have for 30 years.
That's remarkable.
It's very difficult knowing that 5, 6, 7 years ago, my dad was walking around. He played tennis into his 80s. He swam, watched television news, and he was very much dramatic in the last 3 or 4 years, where his memory, of course, comes and goes. His long-term memory is good, but he may not remember this conversation 15 minutes from now.
And I don't remember the woman I married. I think her name was Judy.
It was Judy.
Norman can't always remember the woman he was married to for 60 years, or his sons, Ben and Dan.
You have to deal with reality as it is. You always go back in your mind to...
Okay, Dan now.
Dan's in Texas.
Ben loves to gently guide the conversation to his father's happy times.
My dear father would give me 50 cents to see a doubleheader. And in the back side of the stadium is the exit for the players after the game. And after the game, I would go to the back stadium and wait for Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig.
The snapshot or the vignettes will come and go, but he'll have a different story each time. Maybe from the 1930s, the 1980s, back when I was at Penn State, back when he was at Columbia University as a grad student, when he worked at an advertising agency in Manhattan in the 1930s before he went to the Air Force. In the 1940s, every decade is a chapter full of stories and tales, and you traveled to Scotland and taught overseas.
I've had a good life. I've had a good life, and I had a wonderful family. Wonderful family, no feuds whatsoever.
There's no way you can adequately prepare for this. You always assume life is going to go on as it was when you were all younger, and as a family, changes happen, you're in denial.
Change happens.
But
Take it easy.
Been there, Benny. I've been there. It's tough, isn't it?
The sentimentality involved is overwhelming.
It is.
When you think back upon the beautiful times when the family was young.
As we wrapped up our visit, I asked Ben for his advice for families dealing with long-distance care issues. But Norman, the World War II vet, professor, father, and husband, also wanted to give me his advice on how a man should treat his wife.
Always treat them with respect. They have an ego the way you have an ego. And if you treat them with respect, they in turn will love you all the more.
Yeah, hang in there and enjoy the moment. Look at pictures, have conversations, rekindle memories, and just deal with things as they are.
Our thanks to Ben Gelber for sharing his family's story. And you can call 821-4444 to learn about resources about the warning signs and where to turn for help, or be part of our live chat, NBC4i.com. Answering questions online. You can join the chat, log on. It's live. We'll have that when we come back.